r/ask Reddit. Divorced people of Reddit. What was the final straw that ended your marriage? She didn't want to be married or a mom anymore. She also wanted to see other people. I showed her the door and she ran like a bat out of hell. Left me and the kids. All I had to do to get custody was keep paying her cell phone bill and car payment. This was pretty much all she cared about. Too damn bad that was not part of the divorce agreement. I stopped paying the day after the divorce was final. You're a good man taking care of the kids and getting someone that would influence them immensely in a very negative way out of their lives. I have you tagged being a sweet person and I've never once seen you not uphold that. Thanks for making Reddit a better place. He slept with my friend while I was pregnant. Yep, that would about do it. You use about. Like there needs to be something really tiny to put her over the edge. Perhaps like not putting the toilet seat down ever? I quit drinking. She said I wasn't fun anymore. Did you tell her she was more fun when you were drinking too? How I think what I actually said was why you thought I was fun while I was in jail, rehab, passed out in random places, etc. When my 3-year-old daughter was holding onto my leg with her arm raised up to her mother saying, "Mummy, stop hitting daddy, again. Oh my god. Please try to get custody of your daughter. Don't leave her with an abuser." She got custody as she showed them my bong. My word was only circumstantial. As far as I know she never hit her though. Her co-worker's dong. Actually not even that. It was her telling me that her having an affair was my fault. Or that I want kids but not yours. Beach get the duck out. Bro, what a horrible thing to say. Coupled with what she was doing behind your back. I'm sorry you had to go through that. He threw me clean across a room and I broke my collarbone. Never want to see him again. Good for you for getting out. Thanks. It has taken a long time to be able to just type that without crying. After essentially denying me sex for 2 years, she agreed to duck a married dude for gifts. OMG. My ex-husband duck married ladies for gifts too. We're twinsies. Let's start a club. I caught her emailing him real estate listings. They were apparently shopping online for a house together. That's it. I'm never getting married. After reading this thread, I can't agree more. When I went into labor at 4 AM and not only did he refuse to take me to the hospital, he also blocked my car and so I couldn't get there and I had to call my family to come get me. The baby ended up in NICU because of problems with the labor. Yep. What the duck? Why? What an utter a-hole. He didn't want to get out of the bed cause it was too cold in South in the summer, and then got inordinately pissed off when I said fine, I'd go by myself. Obviously, there were much larger issues and this was the culmination of all of it. Bananas. We were grocery shopping, and I pick up a bunch of bananas and she immediately started in with "Why are you getting bananas? You're not going to eat them. Put them back. Right now." Literally yelling at me and berating me in public for bananas. When we got back to the house, I told her I was done. One too many crazy episodes for me. So she went nuts. No, she went bar. I don't know. He slammed me against our 3-month-old son's crib. He took his dad's gun and went into the backyard to kill himself. I had no remorse. He always did this. Every time he didn't get his way he said his life wasn't worth living. I used to jump at the first mention of suicide and call his mom for help. Not this time. I had to make sure my son was safe so I grabbed my baby and hid in the neighbor's yard until my sister got there a couple of minutes later. My sister took the baby and I called his mom because I didn't want her walking into this mess. She called the cops and they took him to the mental hospital for a 3-day watch. I didn't move out right away but I didn't show him any affection for the next couple of months. I made sure he got help through the VA and that's when I found out everything he told me about his military experience was a lie. He used PTSD as an excuse for everything. He was never in combat or even in a combat zone. Not that it would have made me want him less but the fact that this was his excuse for quitting his job when my son was born causing me to go back to work at exactly 6 weeks after my son was born. One day while he was in the garage playing games with his friends I packed up most of my stuff and my son's stuff and left. He didn't notice for 3 hours. He's a good dad and we share 50% custody. I keep tabs with his girlfriend to make sure that he is still seeing his doctor and taking his meds. She didn't know any of this and I only disclosed it to her when they got serious. I like her as a stepmother for my son and I'd hate for her to have to deal with the same thing I did. You're a good woman to the man and a good mother to the children. Thank you. It also helps that my boyfriend is understanding of the entire and how I choose to handle things. No bad talking the ex and getting me angry for no reason. It helps a ton. When she admitted to me that the voices were telling her to hurt the children and me, and I realized that it was dangerous to keep a schizophrenic in the house with the kids. Coming to grips with the fact that she was still walking around but the woman I married and had 2 kids with was gone. The disease had taken her from me. I was already taking care of the kids full time. I spent most of my time at home arguing with her over reality. That is really tough. I assume she was young when you married but the mental illness got worse over the years. Yep, there were no signs of the illness at all until the second pregnancy. Was a couple of factors. Could have been my raging alcoholism. Could have been her propensity to have other men's penises inside of her. Could have been her belief that Guido shot first. Probably a combination of all 3. Could have been her belief that Guido shot first, complete marriage breaker. Could have been her belief that Guido shot first. Man, you never hit a woman. Never. But goddamn if they don't push you to the limits. Was making 75% of the money and had put us in a house on the water and paid for her to finish school and she just constantly treated me like crap. We had planned to have children after she turned 29. The day after her 29th birthday she tells me that she doesn't want children because she wants to concentrate on her career. The exact quote was, "I don't want children, at least right now, at least not with you," as if I was the guy down the street she might be okay with having kids right then. The marriage was over right then, although it took me 4 weeks of steaming over it before I remembered I was 1, a decent person, and 2, had balls. She got kicked out the day after the revelation happened. Way to use your balls. Wrecking balls. Her boyfriend called me, told me he had been ducking her for a year. I asked him why he would call me to tell me this. His answer? Well, I didn't feel that bad about it before, but I just found out she's been cheating on me with 5 other guys, all off of Craigslist, and that's where she found me. Totally blindsided. Wow, what a nice scumbag. Good guy scumbag Steve. My husband hit me in front of my sister. He had been beating me and raping me and making sure I had no money for months. Even hitting me while I would nurse our baby. But when it became something I could not deny anymore because someone else saw it, it was over. I feel really sad typing that out. Your self-control in not shooting him in his sleep is admirable. Let alone the alcoholism, abuse, peeing in the oven and trying to shoot the dog. If I ever tried to pull that "it's a woman's job" crap on my wife, I think we'd be done right there. I came home early. She had a dong in her mouth. Apparently you weren't the only one that came home early. Hit me, and then yelled at me for flinching during a later fight. Reading this made me realize that being alone is great. We weren't getting along, so she asked me to move out. I tried to just stay out of the house for a few days, only returning to sleep. That wasn't good enough. I went to my parents in the first night I was there. Thursday night, I get a text informing me that she is bringing the dog to her parents in the morning. This means she will be out of town for a few days. I go home after one night at my parents', being that my wife is out of town for a few days, and do normal household things. I get to my computer, bring up Facebook, and she is still logged in. Her most recent messages are with a guy she knows on the other side of the state where she says she will see him soon. So now I've been kicked out of my house. The dog is at her parents'. She is across the state, and this wave crashes over me. I don't care. I really don't care anymore. There are many things building up to this point, but now I am no longer vested in what she opts to do. I feel better. I feel a lot less stress. My mind was at ease for the first time in months. I had a good day for the first time in months. Part of me was upset, but most of me was relieved. I read the messages and I started to see a pattern that I hadn't previously noticed. I started to understand bits of what was going wrong in our marriage. In their conversation, my wife seemed to be acting like she was the girl of this man's dreams. She was interested in his favorite animated metal band. She suggested interest in movies she would have passed over. It clicked that she had done the same when we were dating and she had progressively grown out of the girl she thought I wanted her to be and became the woman she is. There's nothing wrong with that. But had I known from the start it just wouldn't have worked. On Tuesday evening she gets home. She removes her coat and shoes, asks how I am, why I'm there, the usual stuff but with far more tension. That's when I hit her with the news I am filing for divorce, and I would like her to move out. It was Christmas Eve. I kicked her out on Christmas Eve. She didn't wake up in our bed on Christmas Eve. She had progressively grown out of the girl she thought I wanted her to be and became the woman she is. There's nothing wrong with that, but had I known from the start it just wouldn't have worked. Thank you for saying this. Going through a shitty breakup right now, and this was like a revelation to me. After having stage 3 breast cancer she decided she wanted to be bisexual. To keep our house and family together I tried to allow her to do what she wanted. She started drinking and smoking a bunch of weed and after she started hanging out with a 22-year-old. She is 34. She met on Craigslist spending all night with her multiple times a week and barely making it home for me to leave for work at 5 in the morning so someone would be home with the kids. I told her I couldn't share her like this anymore. She told me she will never love me as much as another woman she knew and I was never going to be the most important person in her life. We were married almost 13 years. I'm sure there are worse feelings. But being at home playing with your kids while your wife is out doing drugs and having sex with another person is one of the worst I've experienced. I'd like to make it clear that while she may have called it deciding to be bisexual, what she was doing was neither standard bisexuality nor okay. Sexuality isn't a choice, but sexual activity is, and she chose to backstab you with that. I couldn't get along with my husband's girlfriend, plus the fact that she gave him herpes. LOL. Haha, that's funny. I didn't find the fact that he had a girlfriend funny, but after 15 years, still laugh about the herpes. She got a restraining order against me and filed for divorce as a birthday gift to the guy she was cheating on me with. How did she convince a judge to grant a restraining order? I don't feel safe when he's around. I'm afraid he'll hurt me. Well, lots of things caused my marriage to ultimately fail, but the final straw was when she told me she wanted someone like Edward from that vampire movie. I just laughed and walked right out the door. Did you marry a 13-year-old? No, that would be someone like Edward. True story. Making nothing up. My ex-wife of 10 years decided that having sex with a 15-year-old student in her care would be a good idea. After I caught him driving my car when I unexpectedly returned from a business trip, I confronted her and got her to admit it. She served 2 years of a 15-year sentence after I turned her in. Tapping my landline telephone with Radio Shack paraphernalia, I heard a strange clicking noise while on a call and found a cassette recorder buried in the insulation and the crawl space underneath my landline phone. This is after years of ramping up his OCD checking habit, which included checking shopping receipts for timestamps, scouring the telephone bill and calling every number he didn't recognize, bending the slats on the bathroom blinds so he could peek in and make sure I hadn't drowned in the tub, removing the tumblers from the bathroom door locks just in case he needed to rush in and rescue me, hiding in the back of the parking lot where I worked to ensure I wasn't walking to my car with any male co-workers. Nicest guy in the world, never abusive. Doted on me and showered me with attention and apparently head over heels in love with me, but so secretly controlling and batshit crazy I just couldn't consider therapy. I bolted in the middle of the night with no warning and moved 2 states away. He didn't secretly implant you with a GPS chip, amateur. I was married for a while in the 90s. If he could have hidden a GPS on my car, he would have. I've no doubt that his current partner, if he has one, is on film, audio, and satellite every second of her life. He locked me out of the bedroom for not cleaning the cat litter to his specification. He was trolling the internet for other women. He wouldn't have sex with me for months at a time. To be fair, only myself and Sting can have sex for months at a time. I'm not divorced, or even separated, but both are options I am considering, though I guess you could say I am still on the fence. What's hard about making this decision is that things don't seem bad enough to leave. or good enough to stay. Amber, Valence is killing my marriage. I am 26, female, and have been married for a couple of years to the man I started dating at 18. What I am starting to realize is that I am in love with the man I met when I was 18, not necessarily the man I am married to now. I've also come to realize that I have continuously sacrificed my own personal success and happiness for his. I let myself become defined by my relationship. I gave myself up to it. I find that I'm not sexually satisfied, and that my sexual appetite far exceeds his. His temper, something that I've asked him to get a hold on since the beginning of our relationship, is still a big problem. He also proven time and time again that he thinks poorly of me. He is highly critical and judgmental and makes hurtful assumptions about my motives and intentions. I feel that his concerns, desires, goals, opinions always outweigh my own and influence our relationship and our future. I know that he loves me, almost to an obsession, and that is partly why I have not made any moves to leave the relationship. It is hard to discuss the problems I have with him, or even broach the subject of leaving, because he threatens suicide, self-harm anytime he is put under any personal criticism. I know I can't live my life in someone else's shadow, fulfilling the expectations they have of me, but never having my own needs and desires met, or even considered or supported. This is a great question, but I don't know if there is a concrete answer to it. Edit. Spelling grammar fixes. His temper, something that I've asked him to get a hold on since the beginning of our relationship, is still a big problem. He also proven time and time again that he thinks poorly of me. He is highly critical and judgmental and makes hurtful assumptions about my motives and intentions. I feel that his concerns, desires, goals, opinions always outweigh my own and influence our relationship and our future. I know that he loves me, almost to an obsession, and that is partly why I have not made any moves to leave the relationship. It is hard to discuss the problems I have with him, or even broach the subject of leaving, because he threatens suicide, self-harm anytime he is put under any personal criticism. From the outside, it sounds bad enough to leave. The parents from a friend of mine divorced, because all of her, the mom, friends also got divorced or broke up with their partners. She didn't want it to be the only one who wasn't divorced, so she threw her husband out of the house and got the papers ready. She also wanted, and got, a Daihatsu Terios once because 2 or 3 of her friends also bought one. Actually, I've seen this happen too, where divorced friends convince the married ones that life is more fun single. Well, to be fair, all the cool moms were doing it. I witnessed the penis of another man penetrating her vagina in the backseat of the car I just bought for her. When my boss caught her out with her new boyfriend who was drunk and bragging. Small company, we all knew each other and our families. I left for a few days to clear my head. When I came back to talk, he was already moved in. So done. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.